Welcome back to the Explainer, everyone. Okay, if you're a GCSE RS student staring down Component 2 on sin and forgiveness, you're in exactly the right place. Consider me your energetic, highly structured study buddy today. We're going to lock down a totally crucial topic, mission and evangelism. We'll look at exactly how and why the Catholic Church carries out this massive global duty. By focusing directly on the source material we've pulled together, we're stripping away the fluff to give you exactly what you need to remember for exam day. Let's get right to it.
So let's kick things off with the most fundamental exam question you might face on this topic. Why do Catholics evangelize? Before you can explain how the church operates, you've got to understand the core motivation behind it. It's literally the engine that drives everything else we're going to talk about today.
To secure those top marks, here's our roadmap. First, the theological why. Then, global evangelization, national evangelization, and finally, local evangelization.
Starting with Section 1, the theological why. Let's look at the foundations of mission. Right, the absolute crucial point here is understanding atonement. Catholics believe that Jesus brought salvation and made amends for the sins of humankind through his death and resurrection. That, in a nutshell, is the act of atonement. But here's the critical second half of that equation. To actually be saved, individuals must have faith in Jesus and believe in this atoning death. The salvation is there, for sure, but people need to know about it to have faith in it.
And that leads us straight to our next crystal clear definition, evangelization. Because faith is required for salvation, the Catholic Church believes it has a profound, undeniable duty to spread that faith. This is rooted directly in the actions of Jesus, who explicitly told his apostles to go and make disciples of all nations. So Catholics today, acting as the body of Christ on earth, must do exactly the same. They're carrying on that apostolic duty. Now, this brilliantly illustrates how you should outline your exam essays. Notice how it links everything together logically. Point 1. Jesus brought salvation through his death and resurrection. Point 2. His actions atoned for human sin. Point 3. Faith in Jesus is required to be saved. And the natural conclusion, point 4, the Church has an apostolic duty to spread the faith so people can be saved. If you can replicate this logical flow on your exam paper, you're showing a really deep, structural understanding of Catholic theology. The examiner will love it. Moving on to Section 2, global evangelization. Let's look at this on a worldwide platform. The Catholic Church is a massive, massive global presence, and to manage that worldwide platform, it uses the Vatican. You'll definitely want to remember to drop this specific Vatican department name into your exams. The Congregation of Evangelization of Peoples. Having that exact term locked in your memory shows the examiner you truly understand the formal structure. This department looks after the Church's global reach, basically helping figures like the Pope to effectively proclaim the gospel to the entire world.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we can compare two major global examples of the Church in action. On one side, we have CAFOD, which lives out the gospel in a very practical way through global charity work. It's faith in action. But then contrast that with Missio on the other side. Missio is a specific organization whose primary direct concern is overseas evangelization, actively spreading the faith itself. Both are absolutely vital global operations, but they tackle the mission from slightly different complementary angles. Keep both of these in your back pocket for your exam.
Let's zoom in a bit for Section 3, national evangelization. Here's how this works country by country. At the national scale, the key body is the Bishops' Conference of a country. They're the ones who help Catholics know and share the gospel locally. For your specific example, you want to highlight the Home Mission Desk. This desk is run by the Department for Evangelization and Catechesis, which sits right within the Bishops' Conference of England and Wales. Again, dropping these specific organizational names is absolute gold for demonstrating precise knowledge. Okay, I need you to lock this single number into your memory, 2015. Why? Because giving a specific, time-stamped piece of evidence in an essay elevates your answer from just good to excellent. And here's exactly what happened that year. In 2015, the Church introduced a national evangelization initiative called Proclaim 15 Building Missionary Parishes. Now, it wasn't just about telling people to do more. It was specifically designed to affirm and support the good work that was already being actively done by the Catholic community across the nation. It's just a great example of a top-down initiative supporting real grassroots efforts. Another incredibly easy way to score points when discussing national examples is to simply list the media used to spread the message. National Catholic publications play a huge role in keeping the community informed and united in their faith. Definitely jot down these three key ones: the Tablet, the Catholic Herald, and the Catholic Times. Just dropping these names shows you get how the Church communicates its mission nationally on a regular basis. Finally, Section 4, local evangelization.
The everyday life of the parish.
This right here is pure exam gold. We've got a direct quote from Pope Francis describing the local parish, saying it possesses great flexibility. It's short, it's punchy, and it is perfectly memorizable for your long-form answers. It highlights that the local parish isn't some rigid institution. It adapts to the needs of its specific community to pass on the basic message of God's love effectively.
So let's see how this builds into practical local action. Because of that flexibility Pope Francis mentioned, the local parish can actively engage with various agencies and partners. It shows the church's work for justice, promotes social cohesion within the neighborhood, and works for the common good of everyone around them. Evangelization at this level is highly active and really visible in the community.
Oh, and don't forget the local media. Just like we had national publications, local diocesan newspapers play a vital, targeted role. The church uses these local papers to help people learn more about their faith, keep up with local parish events, and just stay connected to the mission on a day-to-day, localized basis.
So we've journeyed all the way from the absolute theological necessity of atonement, right through the global halls of the Vatican, down to the national bishops' conferences, and finally into the flexible, everyday life of the local parish. So here's the big question. From the Vatican to the parish, how will you explain the church's missionary duty? Challenge yourself right now. Can you recall the theological why? Can you name one global, one national, and one local example? If you can visualize the concepts we just walked through, you are absolutely ready to crush this topic on exam day. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer, and happy studying.